Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Ghost Spider Annual #1. Dude, I'm totally cool with us just having an issue #1 of Ghost Spider and then going straight to an annual as though it's been around for freaking a year or something like that. Whatever, it's still great because this was a solid comic book. I cannot find one bad thing to say about this comic book, and that's important because we're going to talk about 5 things about this comic book, which means they're all positive. First, we'll talk about who did the book. So, Vida Ayala wrote it. Perry Perez drew it. Rachel Rosenberg colored it. VC's Clayton Cowles lettered it. Emma Lupacino and David Curiel did the cover, and John Tyler Christopher did the variant. Anthony Gambino was the designer. So I love the way that they did that. Who did what? The absolute best. Whoever came up with this idea for Ghost Spider always having the wrote it, drew it, colored thing. Perfect. Like someone said, makes my job so much easier, and hopefully encourages other comic book reviewers to actually mention all the people who were involved in the comic book because, yeah, it's important. These are people. Anyway, this comic book, dude, this had beautiful art. As you're looking at now with the previews, this comic's art was beautiful, and I'm gonna say it's pretty much perfect for this issue, for this character, for this book, all right? This whole title. I love the way that Gwen is drawn and everything around her is drawn. This is her viewpoint. We're seeing through her eyes. We should see how she sees. And this is great. I love this. Even certain parts of the background where it's just like dot matrices that are faded into the background. I love that. It's great. It's a different way of showing movement. Moving on to the second thing about this comic book. Really great crossover idea. We're doing the Acts of Evil right now, which is a play off of the Acts of Vengeance. I mean, it's the exact same dressing for it and everything. And having Arcade, who, like, let's be realistic, he's most associated with the X-Men. After that, he's most associated with Spider-Man. And here's a Spider character who he's never had to deal with before. In fact, he didn't even intend to deal with this character before. Fantastic issue. I'm going to get more into that in a little bit. First, I'm going to talk about, well, not first, but before I get into more on that particular topic I was talking about, let's talk about the third cool thing about this comic book, that being the cover. Oh my God. How often do we get a cover that perfectly tells us what's going to happen in this comic book without spoiling it? That's a precarious precipice that we're leaning on, right? And this comic book does it perfectly. Rhino's in it. What do you call it? The lizard's in it. And you can probably tell that it's not really them because it's actually Arcade who's in it. Unless it's an a murder world about Arcade. Anyway, perfect cover. As far as I'm concerned, perfect cover. Loved this. The fourth thing about this comic book, an absolutely amazing use of Arcade. This is a character who, again, has dealt with Spider-Man about as many times as he's dealt with the X-Men. Maybe not quite as many, but you get the gist, right? And here it is. He was planning on going after Spider-Man again through voicemail. Oh my God, what a great idea. So this way, he never has to realize that it wasn't actually Spider-Man who survived this. It was actually Ghost Spider. Maybe he'll go back and review his tapes. Who knows? Because if he was actually paying attention to what was going on, he would have said, whoa, stop. Listen, as much as I'd love to get you through this, I was paid to have you deal with, or excuse me, to have the murder world affect Spider-Man himself, the actual Spider-Man, not you. Who are you dressed in white? Is that a symbiote you're wearing? No, he would have said, get out of here, go away. You know what I'm saying? I'll deal with you another day, but I'm not going to waste all the money that my sponsor placed for Spider-Man. I'm simply not going to do that. I don't need you wrecking all my robots for that. But by this being a voicemail, all of that is avoided. Plus, it makes for a really great spider-gwen situation. This was a fan-freaking-tastic idea. Loved this. The fifth thing about this comic book, this is the perfect take on Gwen. When she sees the lizard, I never read the comic books, the original comic books, where it talks about how, oh man, it was actually, the lizard was actually Peter Parker in my world, Earth 65. I never read those, but I did read other books that expressed that clearly. So I know, as soon as I saw the lizard showing up, I was like, is she going to recognize this as, and she does. She turns around, she's like, Peter? And like my heart sank. And it makes me want to go back and buy those trade paperbacks now. Because, yes, that's exactly what she should have said. Vita's got this character. Man, she's got this character down. One book got this character down. This was fan-freaking-tastic. Vita Ayala is becoming one of my favorite writers right now. With what was done on Prisoner X, when I didn't like any of the stuff in those Age of X-Man books, somehow I loved that story. It was great. Boom, and here we go. Yeah, I think we'd have to be following some Vita stuff. If Vita's got some other books out there, I'm going to have to find what they are and read them because, yeah, this is one of those careers to follow. That's real talk. And that is easily worth a number 5 on this. But it's so much more. It's a great take on all of these characters in here. The way that she finally wins. And then the way that she realizes, you know, through default that this, you know, how she could have actually escaped from the beginning and how she really isn't that much different than all the other heroes. She never even considered it. And the whole time I'm thinking, you know, so that was perfect. I love this. Guys, this was a fantastic comic book. Definitely spend your money. Go out and grab this comic book, man. If you're only going to get one annual, so far, this is the one to get. Because this just, it felt great. It's a really good, not a great, but a really good introduction to who Gwen actually is, the Ghost Spider. I love this book. I love the way all of this has been building up. I love that she's got to eat in this book because not only is a girl got to eat, but we saw recently in the Ghost Spider issue number 1 that she kind of has to eat a certain amount of roughage specifically. Otherwise, her symbiote is going to wind up dying. So I loved this. This was fantastic. Get this book. Of course, we've also got a Moon Knight issue coming out with Kang. So that means time travel with Moon Knight. Yeah, that's going to be pretty good too. They advertised this in this. So far, this is my favorite one. We'll see how that one does. Anyway, guys, I'm out. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.